This week on Erotic Awakening, Cold Feet in Poly, Blindfolds, and Best KK Ever.
Welcome to Erotic Awakening, an exploration of all things erotic. If you are offended by adult topics or prohibited by law, we recommend you stop listening right now.
We want to thank our latest patron supporter, Darcy.
And Daryl. Thanks so much. Your support keeps us going.
Head over to patreon.com right now. Erotic Awakening today. You get your bonus content and all the other options you get for being a patron supporter.
So Patreon, what is it? It's patreon.com/erotic awakening. We're acting like we've never done this before.
Well, it's been a couple of weeks.
No,
so it's not been.
Well, it has. We've been moving and everything. So hi, Dan.
So for those of you that are watching on video, I wonder how it is I can get my glasses to reflect less light like a professional YouTuber.
I get reflective coating on mine. Glare coating, something like that.
Yeah, I do too, but doesn't seem to be working.
Doesn't seem to.
Anyway. Not got anything to do with the podcast. Hi, guys.
Hi, everybody. A video podcast. We haven't done a video podcast in forever.
We are currently in our brand new home in the Arizona, and we've actually got a spot here that we can sit here and set up things and actually record. So there we go.
Yay. So no more RV. We'll probably talk about that again soon now that the decisions have been made and we're really moving forward. So we'll give you guys a heads up on what we're doing. But in the meantime, first we're going to talk a little bit about Dawn. So this came from a question that one of our listeners wrote in, and it's something that we hear a lot, especially when we teach polyamory classes is, and you and I struggled through this exact same thing. When we first got started, we said, let's do polyamory. And this is more of for either a new couple or an existing couple. And you're like, all right, let's expand things. Polyamory sounds wonderful. I want to start dating other people. You want to start dating other people. It's opportunity to meet new people and try new things.
Absolutely.
And all of this, it sounds exciting. It sounds like, ooh, love for everybody. We have all the love. Let's bring people in and do all the things and utopia. And it'll be perfect because love, right?
And we feel that way when we're in that pink cloud that while we're really, when you were getting along and everything's wonderful and the sex is hot and all that kind of stuff, like let's get more, because we're so happy with who we are. We're happy to be generous and with each other's time.
Absolutely.
And you can just say, yeah, go off on a date, have a great time. I've got things to do. I'll be here by myself. I got, no problem at all. And what we see happen a lot of times is that once it actually starts, that there's a difference between how will you feel if, what would it be like? And then when it actually starts to happen, to realize, oh, that's what it's actually feels like. That the concept of jealousy or the concept of the fears that I was going to face, once I'm actually facing them
and feeling them,
are really significantly different than what I expected.
So a question by a listener, but something we've also experienced, in that the person that sent us the question said that they talked about polyamory, their partner brought it up, their partner was interested in being with someone else and started dating someone else. But then when the second partner started dating someone else, the first partner that brought it up said, whoa, and started backpedaling. And like I said, we've done the same thing where we're like, oh, utopia. Of course, this is going to be great. This is going to be fun. And then while we were dating people together, we still had hiccups, but it was easier because it was a safety net, because it was us dating someone else, or for whatever reason. It sometimes worked, sometimes didn't. But then when we started dating separately, and I was all for it, until you started dating people without me, right? So, and then I'm backpedaling of, whoa, what is this? Maybe we should look at our foundation and make sure it's, whatever. And like we say in class, that was a wrong move for us to back away from some people and do that. But that is what we did, and it's hard. Now, if I had kept going, if I had kept backpedaling, it wouldn't have worked, because you are poly. I am poly. We live poly because we are poly. So if I kept backing up or backpedaling, or if either one of us had,
Sure.
right? Because I
Right.
started dating later too. And, if you had started backpedaling and saying, no, 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 I'm done. You started dating. I don't like that feeling. So I'll give up mine and we're going monogamous.
So summarizing all that, the actual topic being cold feet in polyamory, right? Once you get going to realize, oh, fuck, I don't know if I like this so much after all. And the first thing that comes to mind to me is this is exactly how we come up with the idea of unicorn hunters and the bad name that they get. Because one of the instant reactions, one of the most common reactions for the existing couple is to say, okay, let's put everything else, let's put the polyamory thing on hold and come back to ourselves and look at the foundation, da 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 da. And the way you do that is by saying, sorry, new person that we've just started to start a relationship with, fuck off, because we got to work on our own thing. And a lot of times what happens is that doesn't actually happen like that, but it isn't, it dawns not, or your partner may not be concerned because you've started dating someone else. It is because you are starting to feel deep emotions to them. And that's what triggers us to feel the fear that, oh my God, I don't know if I can handle this. Well, at that point, the other person is also invested in that relationship. So what for ourselves, we do not recommend that once you've made that decision to go poly, that you easily pull the plug on that and back out of it. Instead, this is the opportunity to look at the emotions that are arising, and instead of dealing with them by what I would
Pushing
have
them
done
away.
in a monogamous situation, which is just get rid of the thing that's causing the trouble
Or hide it.
or hide it. Yeah. Instead, what do we need to do to address because we've decided to be polyamorous. Polyamory is not the issue. It's the fear, it's the jealousy, it's the envy. So let's work on those things. And the way to work on them, which you and I found out, I thought the way to work on them was to get rid of the other people. But all
Right.
that does is suspend them until a month or a week or a year later when that next person comes up. Those emotions are still there.
We get stuck in the same spot we've been here and got stuck in the same spot, right? So, and going back to monogamy is not the answer for us if we're poly. So, yeah, so you've got the unicorn hunting, you've got all that, going on, why I get the bad name. You've got some partners that are like, oh no, wait, we tried this. I don't like it. Let's go back to monogamy. And then one of the partners is like, no,
Right.
I want to be polyamorous. I mean, how do you handle that? Right?
And that's really where this whole, for us, and this isn't meant to be promotional, but the whole concept of coming up with the polyamory toolkit is a book that we wrote to say, how do we move forward that doesn't just equal getting rid of being polyamorous if that's who you are, if that's what you are.
Right.
You're just asking for trouble down the road. Now, if you as a couple mutually agree that we've tried polyamory and it's not for us, that's one thing.
That's one thing.
And that's probably a different conversation, right? That's something that you want to have. And the key is, are you having a conversation? You've said, boy, I tried that, versus one person responding to the other person's emotional state. So the solution for the cold feet in poly is, for me, and this is just the advice that I'm going to give, is you take the idea of let's get rid of polyamory off the table. Let's get rid of the other partners off the table. That's not where the solution lies. The solution lies in how do you and I have a conversation, or you and I and this new partner have a conversation that is going to help us move forward.
So coming from a place of assistance. So that is one of our biggest tools. It's like, having that conversation with the person of, I see you're struggling. So let's say I started dating someone new, right? Which is kind of in the works right now, actually. So let's say I started dating someone new and you're like, oh, no, I don't like my feels. I don't like how this is making me feel. Let's go monogamous. And I'm like, no, we're polyamorous now and I want to stick to this relationship. The best thing that I can do, or that we have found that works for us, which is how we caveat everything. There's no one way to do anything, right? So
Successfully polyamorous for over 20 years, but no, try something else. Go forth.
that is true. Not that we don't still have struggles
Sure.
all the way up until today, but we've learned to communicate with them. And the best thing that you can do, that I could do, is say, I see you're having the feels. How can I help you? What is it that you need? And don't say me being monogamous, because that's not going to fix your emotions. If we don't resolve that, even if I look at someone walking down the road, there's going to be issues, let alone polyamorous.
Right.
So
what adjustments can I make to assist you in what you're dealing with? Or how can I support you to get through what you're dealing with? To come, and as you mentioned, we call it the place of assistance, where I'm not taking responsibility for you being jealous, or you're not taking responsibility for me being jealous, but you are taking responsibility for being partners and friends and saying, well, how can I help? For you and me, we did things like, don't go in these early phases. Can you make sure you check in with me? Make sure you send me a good night text, or to give me permission, right? I don't necessarily, I'm not going to say you can text me all the time, but if you call me, if you need something, I'm going to answer the phone. I'm going to tell you what time I'll be home, whether it's today or tomorrow or whatever. I'm going to tell you what time I'm going to be home, and I will be consistent and be home at that time. I think that was, that's a really big one too for us. That was really helpful. Just these little steps that says, oh, also, how can I, who do you need to talk to that's not me for dealing with jealousy, for that kind of thing? And I have to make sure that I allow you time to do that, whether it's with me giving you a ride to a poly support group or getting out of the house while you're talking to somebody about the situation, right? Other ways that I can support you.
absolutely. So place of assistance, learning different tools. Like I said, this isn't a promotion per se, but we really do live by the tools that we wrote in the polyamory toolkit. So understanding the difference between uncomfortable versus wrong, management of surprises, what you're talking about with, letting the other partner know what time they're going to be home or what they're doing, or, any of your partners, keeping them in the loop. I just made a point to do that with your other partner. Our plans changed on the spot just 15 minutes ago. We were going to do a different thing with with the podcast. Something else was supposed to happen, and we had the equipment set up and decided to podcast. So I went and let them know, keeping them in the loop, management of surprises. Even with my partner on the road, he keeps me in the loop of what he's doing and his plans, and I do the same. And it's management of surprises, and it just makes things a bit smoother, so they don't have to say, well, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah, and I'm really looking forward to, not to get off topic, but in another couple of months, either a new book or a series of podcasts that we'll be doing about living with, aiding a threesome or a foursome of a polyamory nature, right? Because you and I, although we've done this before, we've done it differently.
Yes.
We're week one into a brand new situation for us that we're getting involved in.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 6 days, 5 days in.
Yep.
We're 5 days in of combining households with the three of us.
Yeah. I've got, by the way, you don't know this yet, but there's a celebration planned for tonight.
Oh, is there?
Yeah, it's a small thing. You'll like it, though.
It doesn't involve neighbors that have already asked us if we're a throuple?
No, it doesn't. That's gonna. We'll tell that story at some point as well.
Okay.
So there you go. The Cold Feet and Poly. One of the services that I do provide is relationship counseling in this situation, whether it's me or me and Dawn. And we are more than happy to engage and have those conversations to assist you as you move through it. It's very complex, but it's very doable. And it is very much worth it. The real issue that will slow you down, that we've certainly found from our experience, is to practice the monogamous thinking of, I will avoid the problem, right?
Yeah.
We'll try monogamy for a while and give polyamory another try in 3 months or 6 months or 12 months. Well, you know what? Life is just going to continue to going, and that person that really wants polyamory is going to start to feel resentment or cheated or lied to if we're not careful. So
Yeah.
again, feel free to reach out to either me or to us, and we are happy to assist from that perspective.
So indeed. And, 25 years of doing polyamory in different forms and still working our own tools, right?
Yes.
So yeah,
Really,
but it's
not
worth it.
Yeah, this again, the podcast not meant for a sales pitch, but there you go. That's out there anyway.
So you know what? Let's go ahead and turn it into a sales pitch. So the polyamory toolkit, which we talked about, can be found on our website, which is eroticawakening.com. It is also in audio, right? It's an audible book, and it's a digital book, and it can be found in many, many ways. So
what if I want the audio book for free?
Well, if you want the audiobook for free, that's when you become a patron.
Ooh.
At a certain, I think it's the $10 level. So you get the $20 book for free at the $10 level, plus all freebies. I mean, this is a big pitch, right? Plus I've got classes I'm getting ready to schedule for April, and I bet you one of them is a poly class. And as a patron, you get a lot of those for free or discounted.
Well, there you go.
Yay. That was unplanned.
If you are annoyed by this sudden sales pitch and you want to tell us in person, you can do that in a variety of places that you have upcoming events.
Indeed, like Apex in Phoenix, Arizona.
And in April.
April.
Scissortail Leather Conference in Tulsa in June.
Indeed. Looking forward to that. So keep up with all our events, book news, discounts, and more via the Erotic Awakening newsletter.
And get your EA shout out like Alice.
And Aaron in Kentucky.
Michael in Texas.
And Molly in New York.
Head over to eroticawakening.com and subscribe today.
Indeed. So right before we got to this Sticks and Bricks, right? We were packing to get into the Sticks and Bricks from the RV and the park model and, like I said, combining households. But we also had a trip to Chicago.
Yes, we did.
And we went to Kinky Kollege.
Yep. I don't know, how did we figure out that? Did we figure out we've hit 20 Kinky Colleges, or
something
just
like
the
that.
event's been going?
That is an estimate on my part, and I can absolutely go back and look. But they have 2 events a year, and it's been going on for a long, long time. And it was mathematically figured that we've taught at 70% of the events, I think is what they told us. Something like that.
It's a crazy figure.
It's a crazy number.
Kinky Kollege over and over again through different event producers that they've had, different locations, and it's been super consistent. It is the event. If you've ever thought about going to Kinky Kollege, it is the one you have to sit at your computer for. When they go on, on sale, the 900 tickets sell out in 5 hours.
I don't know if that is tonight or next Sunday night that tickets go on sale for homecoming.
Let's assume you are already too late. Think about the next one. You'll see us about once every other event. They rotate people in and out. We just did, what month was that we were
did
there?
March, which was
we'll do next March.
Spring break.
Right. But regardless, super well-run event.
80 people. So the first day, Friday,
yes,
we had a class. What was it? Chemical play?
Yep.
We did chemical play on Friday. And a lot of times
at 4 p.m.
At 4 p.m.
Right.
And
So a lot of people still coming in from work and all that kind of stuff.
Traveling in, things like that. Friday class, usually at any event, usually not super well attended because it is the few people that have made it early or whatever, right? And no, not Kinky Kollege. It was standing room only. I counted 80 people before I stopped counting. So many people to watch. We had so much fun with that. When there's that many people and they're interacting with us, we get that energy exchange. And man, that can just turn us on, as in gives us so much energy to give back to people. We did 4 classes and everyone was phenomenal.
And the funny thing about it, and the really interesting thing for us, is that often when you do 4 classes by the end of the, over a 2-day period or a 3-day period, at least the way we teach, we are high energy people. If you've ever seen us present in person, you know that we are some high energy people when we present. And you end up being really burnt out at the end. And this was not the case. And this is what made KK special for us, is that the crowd, the people were so energized and giving us all the energy in the world while we gave them all the energy in the world.
Yeah.
Come Sunday, come Sunday, everybody's packed up. They're ready to go. Now, this event runs on Sunday as well for a couple classes. But of course, people are like, I got to get home. I got to get
check out my room.
Historically, we expect low attendance to a class on Sunday. No. Crowded as hell. But we were doing sexual BDSM, which is often a crowd pleaser anyway.
That is true. And again, standing room only. And we warned them in the little run book, in the little program book, it said 1 chili. So they had a chili scale, like 1 through 3, right, of hotness of the thing, and or how 101, 201, 301 it was. And we got 1 chili pepper. They're going to redo that. That was a 3 chili pepper nakedness, and that was hot.
and it was neat. Friday night we taught chemical play, and then Saturday people came up to us and said, "Oh, I tried this, I tried that. It was really interesting."
Yes.
I really would have liked to have had that same interaction after sexual BDSM for people to come up to us and say, "Oh, I tried this and I tried that," or actually, "Hey Dan, I saw you taught this class on sexual BDSM. You want to play tonight?" Fuck, what a great opening for that.
That would have been great. So I know some people that were at Kinky Kollege listen to this podcast because we got to meet you and say hi, right? If you did go to the sexual BDSM class and you tried some of the stuff, let us know. We like to hear the stories.
We didn't get permission from a lot of people that we met there to use their name. We did. What about the person who we talked to on our Discord a lot? Did they say it was okay to mention them? Well, you know who you are.
Sorry, I'm like, oh, they would be okay. Wait, no, I didn't
Let's
get
permission.
Let's not assume.
So, you know who you are. It was a pleasure to meet you.
R is a patron. R is on our Discord channel.
And just a wonderful person. A couple other people. The only other one that I did get permission, Luna from the Submissive Guide.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Spent some time with you. You had
that was so great.
Loved Saturdays, what you wore.
Indeed. So if we get permission for that, that would be fun to talk about too. Don't like to out people. So we like to give shout outs, but we don't want to. What goes on at KK stays at KK.
Absolutely. And then the last thing for today's show, Dawn, I have a question for you because I've actually done this and I don't like it. And I'm curious why when we do it, and you seem to like it, blindfolds.
You don't like blindfolds?
I don't like wearing a blindfold.
You do as a top. You do as a dominant.
Sometimes as a top, it's an interesting experience, which I actually rather enjoy.
But otherwise, no.
So let me talk about that just really briefly because people be like, well, I don't understand. Sometimes as a BDSM top, I do like to wear a blindfold. There's a very select level of toys you can use while you wear a blindfold. But it's a really interesting experience as a top to take away your sight and still play with somebody and enhance those other senses. So as a bottom, you hear about blindfolds all the time for bottoms. What's the experience of a bottom to wear a blindfold? Why wear a blindfold? What do you get out of that?
So I love a blindfold, actually. I love sight deprivation. And if you ever see me play, and you probably know this, Dan, when you play with me and I'm not wearing a blindfold, my eyes are closed. You have to tell me to open my eyes if you want me to see a certain thing. Right? I like my eyes closed, especially in a dungeon. It cuts down on distractions.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So for one, cuts down on distractions, whether my eyes are closed or to blindfold. What I like about a blindfold is that there is a power exchange element to it. You are taking away my sight on purpose. Now, it could be because you don't want me to see distractions. It could be for whatever reason, but still, it's a decision you've made that I'm following. So I get a little bit of that. It also means that opening my eyes to see what you're doing next is now out of my control. So I like that, right?
So is that a fear aspect?
No, actually it's a comfort aspect.
Okay.
I can just go with the flow and pay attention to the next thing. Whereas if there was some silence for a little bit, I could, if it was just my eyes closed, I could just peek a little bit and see that you're over at the table looking for the next toy. Whereas if I'm blindfolded, I could be going, so I wonder what he's going to do next. I wonder where that feeling's going to come from. I wonder where, and it makes me more, in some instances, it makes me more in tune to like, oh, I wonder if I can feel where he's at. So energetically, I
Okay.
can feel you and things like that. So it's just a very different experience in general. And I don't know that, and some days are different. Some days it's like, oh, I can just lay here and I'm not trying to figure out what you're going to do next. I am just on for the ride. And then it helps me detach, go into subspace, and that is a favorite place to be. And you can tell when it's done that because you're usually very gentle at taking the mask off because of the lights, because of the,
You don't want
abruptness
it
of
to
the
be
scene
jarring.
or whatever. And, but yeah.
Okay.
So
cool.
maybe you don't like it because it's a control thing? That's my first guess because I like being powerless in a
I don't like
scene.
bottoming in general.
Right.
And generally, it's a bottoming kind. The only time I wear a blindfold in general is when I'm bottoming. So therefore, I just associate it with something I don't like, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
But I
and-
certainly don't mind putting one on somebody else.
right. Because you're taking away their control.
Okay, cool.
I like that.
I-
I think it, yes. So I like blindfolds. Dan doesn't unless he's topping.
And even then, it's a very specific type
It's very
of topic.
specific and it's a cool scene because, well, I like it when we're both blindfolded. We actually had silk hoods made for that so that we could play mine. Yeah, we could get on the mats and just put a couple of random toys around on the mat that Dan would find. And then, I would know that he's blindfolded. Or I would assume you still had your blindfold on. I wouldn't know after I was
Fair.
blindfolded.
Yeah, you just like it because it fucks with dungeon monitors.
I do.
For those of you that are watching this on YouTube, you get to find out what hardcore Power Exchange Leathermaster Dan has on his water cup. Look at that. Look at it. Be a part of the Erotic Awakening Podcast community.
You can support us on Patron, like we said before, and get early access to the ad-free version of the podcast, a free version of the audiobook Polyamory Toolkit, free ebooks, discounts on monthly Zoom classes, member-only Discord access, and more.
Find all the goodies at patreon.com/erotic awakening today.
And help others find us. Take a moment to support the podcast. Rate us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen, or wherever you listen.
Or just tell your friends.
And this is on YouTube. Give it a thumbs up, subscribe, do all those YouTube things so people can find us.
Thumbs up a thing on YouTube?
It is.
I think
It is
just
a
like. Is it? Okay. All right.
Yeah, it's a thumbs up like.
Okay, cool. Join the conversation with us and other listeners. Use the links from the Erotic Awakening website for our growing Discord channel.
I feel like the music has stopped at this point.
It has.
Feel free to reach out to us. We love interacting with you.
Contact us with questions, podcast comments, or just to say hi.
We are Dan and Dawn on Fetlife.
And Erotic Awakening on Instagram.
Or just email us at dananddawn@eroticawakening.com.
Bye, Dawn.
Bye, Dan.